Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Finding Freedom. In this episode, it's for those attorneys and lawyers out there that want to make boatloads of cash but don't know how to see the angles or how to see the opportunities at hand. If you don't know who I am, my name's Michael Guerrero. I'm a veteran as well as a marketing wizard. I always tell people the reason why you hire people like me is so you don't need lawyers and attorneys later when you're trying to make boatloads of cash, and do it by the book so that you don't end up in trouble. And because if you end up in trouble, you're going to need attorneys and lawyers. And guess what? They cost a hell of a lot more than hiring a marketer like myself. So if you don't know anything about my background, I'm a former Marine, so on and so forth. But then again, once a Marine, always a Marine. And the other day, I posted a video and it had like Guardian Angel thrift store or whatever. And I had a friend of mine, he goes, "Did you join Space Force and you're trying to tell us that you didn't?" Because I know, sometimes people the branches, let's just say we make fun of each other. The Marines will make fun of the Air Force, the Army, so on and so forth. We'll make fun of the Navy and all this other stuff, right? But it's all in good fun. And I was like, "Are you crazy?" I said, "I'm a Marine." I said, "We get trained like Spartans, if you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. We're the warriors." Nobody asked the question why we do air, land, and sea, and then it breaks up everywhere else. I said, "Why would you think Space Force?" He goes, "Oh, because in Space Force online, it says that they're called Guardians. So I just figured you were trying to give us a clue." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But anyways, so if you're an attorney or lawyer that's looking to make boatloads of cash, I'm going to give you a story of, well, when I tried to help an attorney or lawyer, or I should say, and lawyer, because, it's a logic thing. Johnny bit the dog and then the dog bit Johnny. It's very different. Same thing with attorneys and lawyers, right? And I'll let you guys figure that one out for yourself. But I was like, "Hey, do you know anything about business law?" Because if you do, you could either get a retainer, so on and so forth, have reoccurring revenue so you don't have to stress out about all these like lump sum cases and everything. And businesses are always getting into trouble. Me as a marketer, i.e. a problem solver for businesses, that's what marketers do. We solve problems, right? Create solutions, whatever. We don't make excuses, we create solutions, right? We get the job done, just like Marines do, just like Army does, just like the Navy, the Air Force, Space Force, whatever, Coast Guard. And, it's just something that I've been very decent at, right? I'm not the best out there. I mean, you have Jay Abraham, you have freaking WPP, Dentsu, and all these other agencies, etc. But, I told them, I said, it's funny. I said, if you look at a case like Facebook, right? Facebook got taken down because of Cambridge Analytica, which was not a data breach, but they got caught in question for purchasing data. Now, yes, that's one thing, but what was the big deal? That's what I wanted to understand, because they made it sound like it was this bad thing, right? They purchased data from Cambridge Analytica, they had analytics, so on and so forth. But then I realized something. They were competing with Google. And if you're into PPC or you're into Google search, so on and so forth, if you're a marketer, you understand what I'm talking about. When you go into the targeting settings, all the features and targeting features that Facebook used to have, right? Income, household, so on and so forth, etc. Google still has. And they have that information. How they acquired it, I have no idea. But if a smart attorney or lawyer were to investigate or question, how do they have access to all this, never got a lawsuit, so on and so forth, but yet Facebook did, which they can use as case law, i.e. using a historical evidence that's a case that happened in the past, so that the judge could grant leniency. I'm breaking this down Barney style, as we say in the military. Excuse me one second. By the way, this is amazing. It's called Java Monster. Reminds me of that song from the movie Equalizer with Denzel Washington by Jacob Banks. It's called Monster. You guys should listen to that song. But it tastes like chocolate milk. Anyways, so I was like, if you were to get smart and ask these questions, hell, you have ChatGPT, Google Gemini, so on and so forth. Poke around a little bit. It has access to the internet, for crying out loud, and it'll be able to point out some key features. What does this have as targeting options? What does this have? Then dig deeper. Maybe create an AdWords account. See exactly what features they have on Google versus what they have on Facebook or Meta, as they're called now. Make the comparison, and if you were to bring that into a courtroom, right? Think about it. Google is a trillion company, right? Alphabet, ABC, right? Easy as 1, 2, 3. So think about it, $1 trillion company. Don't you think that they'd rather settle out of court for, let's say, I don't know, $100 million or something, if there is a case there, so on and so forth, to keep things quiet? And then attorneys, they get what, a third or something like that? That's $30 million right there for the attorney. That's life-changing money. If you refer that, this works like real estate. In real estate, you get, a percentage, or 3%. And then if you refer somebody something, a house, whatever, an apartment complex, so on and so forth, then if that person ends up selling, or i.e. in this case with attorneys and lawyers, if that person ends up settling, you get a referral fee of, I think, 20%. So 20% of 30, that's still life-changing money. That's still a couple million in your pocket. So I mean, for some of you that don't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to go ahead and put a link down below of some of the things that I was poking around with, so that if you are a lawyer or an attorney, you can actually look into it. And if you're lazy and you don't want to read everything, you can actually just ask ChatGPT to read it. Or you can, if you have an iPhone, you can do the 2-finger swipe on the top of the screen, and then the iPhone will actually read it for you, and you can put it at ×2 speed and get through it super fast. So there's the work already done for you. Now, when I was trying to help this attorney and lawyer, so on and so forth, and give him these cases, he was like, "Oh, I don't do that, I do this." I said, "Okay, I got another one for you. What about a hospital that is working with other entities that are crooked to put more money in their pocket to paint certain individuals in such a way so they could cash in on insurances? Why don't you use that guy that, it happened to for the last 5 years, so on and so forth, 4 or 5 years or whatever. I think that person, right? You can use him as a witness, right? And then it's been done before, because there's other hospitals that have done scams like that. If you've seen the TV show, The Resident, there's actually a scam that they do in there, where literally if a homeless person ends up, at a hospital because they can't make any money off them, right, but they don't want to break the Hippocratic Oath, they'll just transfer them to another hospital, drop them off at their emergency center, and let them deal with it, so on and so forth, and say, this is your problem. Is it shady? Is it a bad practice? Yes, but it's done. But if they got caught with their hand in the honey pot or a honey trap, so on and so forth, etc., then you kind of have a good case at hand. Now, if you deal with malpractice, so on and so forth, these are the things you have to look at, right? Because, well, who's negligent? The doctor that ended up causing something or creating something which ended up impacting the person's health, because these medications have side effects. Who knows if this person's cholesterol went through the roof because of the medications, and then they started doing pill stacking. I gave an example of my grandmother, right? When they just started pill stacking and they were playing scientists, they really didn't know. Oh, this is causing this? No problem, we'll give you this. This is causing that? Well, we could give you another medication to counteract that, so on and so forth, etc. So think about that before you just turn things away. Here's the thing with a lot of people. Just because you're a professional in a field with a lot of money doesn't mean you understand business. That's no offense to anybody, but it doesn't mean you understand business. Social engineering and social proof play a factor into this. So if you don't see somebody that's successful, you're not going to trust their word. If you don't see somebody driving the bumping car, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, etc., you're not going to ask them any questions. Look at Tai Lopez, right? He has the car, the mansion, and everything, so people are enticed to take his advice based on the social proof. This is a psychological fallacy, by the way, that it gives off, right? But it's a fake facade, because maybe he's actually a down-to-earth person. I mean, he has farming videos, so on and so forth. Who knows? He might be better at farming than he is at business, but like Da Vinci, he only gets paid for doing, well, marketing or whatever. He doesn't make that much money from farming, so on and so forth. So he's stuck in that profession, right? Don't get stuck in the mindset that, oh, well, I'm a professional, so on and so forth. You might not know as much as me because I have more money than you. There was a gentleman that I used to help named Jason Patton, former Air Force guy, concierge doctor, concierge emergency room doctor, actually. Former Air Force fighter pilot turned concierge doctor and surgeon, if I remember correctly. Makes about, I don't know, definitely high 6 figures. And he goes and flies around to different hospitals, so on and so forth. And he thought, well, I make a lot of money. Let me open up my own clinic. So as I'm going through, I'm like, do you understand this? Do you understand that? Do you understand this? And there was a lot of things he did not understand. However, when you get to a certain level, I don't know if it's pride or whatever, it's hard to say you don't know. And this is most people, right? They say, I don't know, whatever. But if somebody's genuinely trying to help you, whether it's for free or for a paycheck or for whatever, right? You know, try to look into it, right? Not everything is a wolf in sheep's clothing, as they say, right? So I was like, if you went after this, medical facility for bad practices and then find other people that it happened to, so on and so forth. I said, wouldn't that be a big case? I said, don't you think they would probably settle for like a couple million, etc., and then you get a cut of that? And then, of course, here come all the excuses. Now, in the Marines, or if you've seen the quote at the gym, no excuses, just results. And as a marketer, I'm a problem solver. So I was like, what's your issue now? Oh, well, I'm not in that area. Okay, so you can't give a referral? You can't do the homework, hand the homework over like a stack of cases, hand it over to somebody else and collect a referral fee? I mean, for instance, if you do the math, let's say they settle for, I don't know, 10 million out of court, whatever, just to keep things quiet, to get people to shut up, so on and so forth, etc. You get a third if you handle the case, right? So that's 3 million. But if you pass it off, that 3 million, well, they get 20% of that, whoever you're working with, so on and so forth, right? So, that still comes out to a high fee. Now let's bring the number up. Maybe it's 30 million and you get a third. So that's 10 million in your pocket, or 20% of 10 million. That'd be what? $2 million. That's life-changing money. If you're not able to freaking do that, then what good are you? I mean, think about it. I mean, it's literally, you don't even have to do the work. You have ChatGPT and Gemini to assist you with it. You can outsource crap, for crying out loud, right? So if you are an attorney or you're a lawyer, so on and so forth, maybe you work for a law firm, maybe you're independent, whatever the case may be. I did some background research of the scenarios that I just described, etc. And I'm going to leave that ChatGPT link down below. Now, mind you, it's going to probably have a different title on it. Don't worry about it. If you're an attorney or lawyer, you understand exactly what it says, so on and so forth. And if you don't understand, there's definitions in there. So I think I broke everything down so that you can understand what's going on and how I just want to help people, right? Because this is about finding freedom, whether you're in different industries, whether you're in law, whether you're in the medical field, whether you're running a whatever, or if you're starting a business, not starting a business, but you're trying to do stuff freelancing, so on and so forth, whether you're contracting, whatever the case may be. This is to help people or individuals open their mind and find their freedom, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm not asking for anything in return besides, well, maybe smashing the like button and following me so you guys could get more tips like this, because, well, it helps the algorithm put this video in front of other people such as yourself so that it too can help others, right? Pay it forward, as the movie once said, if you watched Pay It Forward, right? And I'll leave you with this, and before I wrap up here, the same person, I was like, there's a TV show that I used to watch called Hustle. It's on Amazon Prime now. I think you can see it, so on and so forth, on there if you have an Amazon Prime Video account. And Mickey Bricks in there, in season 1 comes back, and his buddy Ashley Morgan, or Ash as he goes by short, is doing something called The Flop. It's a insurance scam, so on and so forth, right? And as he's laying there on the ground after he gets hit by a car, etc., so on and so forth, Mickey shows up and he goes, Ash, there's better ways to make a living, so on and so forth. And he looks up and he sees him. He goes, Mickey, so on and so forth, because they haven't seen each other in a while, etc. And something similar happens, I would say, in season or series 5. In the UK, they go by series, not seasons, like in the United States. But if you ever wanted to check out that show, it's pretty cool. It's a motley crew of con artists that go around that are actually good people that go after bad people. And if you remember the quote that I gave from Suits about Harvey Specter and the detective and talking to Mike Ross and all this other stuff, where they say sometimes good people have to do bad things so that the bad guys pay. So if you're an attorney or lawyer and you're looking to be a good guy that has to do bad things to make the bad guys pay, click the link below, share this video, or by all means, just subscribe and hit like. That'll be the best thank you ever. I'm not asking for anything in return. You don't even have to text me or email me or whatever. Just carry it out, so on and so forth. And I hope you make boatloads of cash. Till the next episode, my friends, take care. Have a great freaking day. Mwah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.